What's up, everybody? This is the Smash Controller Podcast, episode number 8, with your hosts, Jose and Patrick. Patrick, how you doing this week?
I'm doing good. Actually, right now we are doing a nice little test run on Twitch,
Yes,
which
we
you'll be able to
are.
find on my channel a little bit later, and you'll see us talking beforehand, and it's probably going to be really awkward, but once we get all of this figured out and we're used to it, it should be pretty sweet. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes,
I've
so
been
this
up
is our test.
to
Go ahead.
yeah, I've just been up to playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey still.
You
I
still in that game?
I think I'm like 68 hours into it at this point, and it's taken a long, long time for sure.
Yeah, well, I have something different to talk about. I did finish Medium.
Oh,
Great
really?
game. Yes, very good game. I recommend everybody to at least pick it up for free on Game Pass if you have a chance. Um, Interesting game. I really liked the story, and it was a slow burn of a game, but I liked it. I'm not going to mention anything because obviously spoilers, and probably not everybody's played it, but you should
Yeah,
definitely play it. If I had to rate it real quick, I'll give it like a 7 out of 10.
right.
So
That's good.
and better than average game. Okay,
Excellent.
but I do have some games I've been playing this week, which I picked up this nice game right here, Super Mario 3D
Sweet.
World with Bowser Fury. It's actually an awesome game. Yes, I played this game on the Wii U, but if you have a Switch right now, this is the game to get. Bowser's Fury, the kind of expansion of that game, is awesome. A great game. Um, Indeed, another game in playing that I picked up, not because I saw the trailer, but because I just had an itch. It was on sale. But Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, because it has all the DLC. Very fun game. If you're into fighting games, this is the game to get. It's not as I'm going to say it's not as quick and fast like the old Mortal Kombat games, but it is
Right.
awesome. It looks great.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I'm sure the graphics do it a great justice at this point.
oh yeah, don't play it because of the story.
Yeah.
Don't go for that.
Yeah, the
But it is
story.
fun to play online or
The
play with your
story.
friends. Yeah, great game
I have
too
to
as
get
well.
used to looking
So
here in the camera.
so it's you know yeah, so that's been my week so far. Just not gaming so hard, but because obviously we gotta live our lives, work
Yeah, yeah,
and everything like that. But
absolutely.
when the downtime happens, I got to finish some games and now playing some of these Mario games, which we will segue into our first topic of the night is we talk about the Switch, and we know we have the PS5 and the Series X, all out
Yeah.
right now, and the Switch had been out since basically 2017.
Yeah.
So it's been 4 years, right? My
Yeah.
math's right. Yeah, 4 years,
Yeah,
and it's still the
that
same
was
Switch.
like the last topic we left it on before we took our extended break.
Yes. So we're going to talk about is because we hear rumors of the Switch Pro. So does Nintendo really need another revision, a new console, a better Switch?
Right.
Because right now they're calling the Switch Pro, which meaning is a powerful Switch.
Yeah.
So what do you think going into the 4K era?
Well, I I kind of touched on this the other day when we were talking about it, just in a little brief
Hmm.
conversation. But to me, it really seems like Nintendo is trying to play catch up. Like they came out with that system when 4K systems were already out. We have Mike in the chat here.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so the 4K systems were already out at the time. The PlayStation Pro had come out. I think what was the Xbox the better
The
one,
Xbox One X,
One X. That's
the
what it was.
scale's
Yeah.
coming out. Yeah.
So
Yep.
all the 4K, the big players in the 4K game had come out by that point, and the
Yep.
Switch comes out, and it's 1080 on the TV, which is an upgrade for Nintendo considering like I think the Wii U was maybe 720 or
Yeah,
something,
I
but
think the Wii. Yeah, I think the Wii U is still 1080 on the actual screen, actually on TV.
right.
But before that, like, I mean, the Wii, I mean, that was just like 480p
Yeah, yeah,
when
yeah,
it came out and
yeah.
everything.
And that was at the time
So,
when PS3 was out, and we were getting full 1080p resolution
yep,
and all that. So they've been really behind the curve on that. I mean, they don't really seem to care that much about, you know, yeah,
resolution,
the resolution and how,
graphics.
whatever, yeah, graphics and
Yeah, I mean, when you think of Nintendo, you think of more bright colors, fun, bubbly personalities.
yeah,
You
absolutely,
don't see the games like Gears of War or Uncharted and
yeah,
all the cool stuff like that. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know what they use because even with the low resolution, the games look awesome.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you, I'm playing this game, Super Mario 3D World, and it looks awesome. Do I think it will look better on a 4K monitor and or playing a 2K 1440p monitor? Who knows? A more powerful system. Of
Right.
course it will because it probably can do more in the background. It probably can render more enemies or whatever.
Yeah.
But at this point, I mean, everybody's kind of like all like, oh, it needs something. I don't know. I'm on the fence on that. If they come out to Switch Pro, awesome, great. I'll love to see a new Zelda on there. Maybe you'll take advantage of more of the vistas that you see and how big they are and how it can render more of the world.
Right.
That's what I see the Switch at. Otherwise the way it is now. I mean, I'm having fun with my Switch, which I gotta show you something. Um, which is pretty cool. So I got this Switch here, which we're talking about Switch Pros, but then I go ahead and get another Switch. Look at that one. That is awesome.
Oh,
Look
that
at
is
this
slick.
red.
Yeah,
Oh
that
my
looks
god, look
evil.
at that.
I like
Yes,
it.
it looks
Yeah.
beautiful. Yes, all red and everything. And why did I get this when there could be a Switch Pro coming around? Well, because I am a maniac
Yeah.
and I need it. So, yeah. That being said, do we need a new Switch and everything? Like I said, we don't need it, but
Right.
it would be nice.
Yeah,
You
well,
know.
here's the real question, and I haven't done much reading about this at all. You've probably done a lot more than me because I've done essentially none. But I mean, with the Switch Pro, with these games, are they actually going to be outright supporting in 4K, or are they going to have to start like doing what everyone else is doing and then re-releasing upgraded Pro versions of the games in order to utilize those graphics? Like, is there going to be a Breath of the Wild Pro, right? So
Yeah.
that
I mean, I
then we
actually
can get
don't
a
know about that.
4K. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't just take an old game, put it in there, and all of a sudden it renders to 4K.
Yeah. Now
It needs
now
to
having
be.
like inborn 1080p support
Hmm.
on the tablet,
Hmm.
that's fine like when it's handheld because it can display at that and it's made for that on a television.
Hmm.
But to upscale that to 4K, I mean that's a whole other thing. I mean, I guess technically that's what like the PS4 Pro was doing was upscaling to 4K.
Hmm.
So maybe it'll be handled the same way. I mean, I'm not technologically savvy to
Yeah, but
that
I think
level.
also too, the Switch Pro, it's not all about upscaling to 4K, but it's about having a better chipset to run the games better.
Right.
So you can have better graphics, better everything. The background, you have more enemies. When you play, you look how bad. Well, let me revert that. The Witcher 3
Right.
runs fine on the Switch.
Oh yeah.
Okay, not the best. It's like running on a low setting on a PC. It still looks good,
Right.
but it's like, but and I think that game running on a Switch was like a monument. Like wow.
Yeah, it's
But
amazing that
if
they
it
would be
had
able
a
to get
yeah,
that to run. Yeah.
exactly. But if it had a better chipset,
Yeah.
it could have ran better.
Yeah.
And I think when you see Super Mario 3D World, you can see it would benefit with a better chipset so how things run. Like I don't know, I'm not a frame rate person. I don't know how to see that stuff. I know people have programs to see that stuff, but I'm pretty sure it's struggling in some moments.
Right.
There's some times where you see Bowser just in Bowser Fury when he's like about to attack and the whole screen goes red. With all the fire and everything. It slows down a little bit. So
Right.
I can tell that with a better chipset, you'll get a probably better frame rate,
Yeah.
and you can do more stuff like Breath of the Wild, same
Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah.
that will benefit greatly from those games.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing with me and Nintendo and why I'm really kind of torn on them just on principle. I don't really understand their methodology or their mode of thinking. Like I understand that they usually want to do stuff that's like kind of not necessarily cutting edge, but this no one
Hmm.
else is doing it, like the motion controllers and all of that, and actually having a self-contained gaming system that you can just take anywhere, which is a brilliant idea with the Switch. I
Oh
mean, the
yeah,
Switch is genius, so it's a brilliant
that's probably
idea.
my favorite part.
But
Hmm.
why do they refuse to develop gaming systems in to contend in a modern marketplace? Why do they not want to pick up the bigger titles? Because ultimately, I understand that Nintendo in a lot of ways is geared towards like, more family friendly content and stuff like that and just classic, for fun, but like there's such a big market out there where they could be capitalizing on it. And I mean, they eventually do, but then they're playing catch up. So it's like the fact that they pick
Mhm.
up things like The Witcher, and Among Us and stuff like that, they're trying to get their finger like on the pulse of the video gaming public at this point.
Mhm.
But why? I don't understand why they don't just try to design to stay current rather than always kind of behind everyone and just doing these little gimmicky. Oh, I can take the controller things off the side and put it into a normal
Mhm.
controller and then plug it into my TV. I mean, it's cool, but if they're able to do that with the Pro, where it's going to be 1080 and then 4K, like where was that 4 years ago when that technology existed? Like, I know they could do it. They just
Mhm.
decided that they wanted more emphasis on other things, or that maybe maybe they're catching up. I don't know. Like they never seem to really have their finger on the pulse of what the general gaming public wants. I mean, it's like they don't care, or they don't. I don't know. It's so weird
Yeah,
to me.
and I think a lot of fans feel that way because I know the Nintendo Direct that came out last week, it was kind of kind of Nintendo Direct.
Right.
It didn't give you the information you wanted. Obviously, there was no Switch Pro news. There was no individuals were kind of wondering what they're going to do for the Legend of Zelda 35th anniversary,
Right.
which was basically not much. They're going to re-release Sky Sword. I mean Skyward Sword
Yeah.
that was on the Wii, the HD version, which people are kind of on the fence. For me, it's great. I actually like that game.
Right.
It's just I got tired of the motion controls. Playing after a while, I didn't get to finish it because obviously I didn't want to swing my arms around for another 40, 50 hours
Right.
doing that. So I think for me, this time around, I will definitely play it because now we can play it traditionally almost.
Right.
Um, yeah, Nintendo is very gimmicky. I mean, in every single system they release since the game. I take it back. GameCube, same thing. I mean, you go with small disc. Why couldn't they go with regular CD disc?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they went with small disc. They had to be different than anybody else. And then at the time with Nintendo 64, everybody was going disc, and they went cartridge still.
Right.
you know, um,
Yeah.
I don't know why that
That's what I'm
Nintendo
saying.
keeps
It's
doing
just
that.
like it's almost like contrarian. Like
Hmm.
they want to do everything but conform to current gaming trends, but then they never really do anything to progress anything. Like they're like non-contributors. They've just kind of siloed themselves into this weird like niche market. And I mean, I
Hmm.
understand that there are a lot of Nintendo fanboys and stuff out there, and I mean they have a large fan base, but they could do much more than that. Like they're just rehashing like the same four ideas. It's like, okay, another Mario game, that's great. Okay, another Smash Brothers game, that's great. Okay, another Mario Kart game. Okay, another Zelda
Hmm.
game.
Yeah,
And
and you know
like
what?
and
And
what? Like where is anything else? Where's the
like
new
brand new,
yeah, like where's the new what's the word I'm looking for? Where's the new,
the new IPs.
exactly. Yeah, the new
Yes.
IPs. Where's the new stuff? You got
Yeah.
the cardboard keyboard that I can make, or a cardboard remote control, whatever,
Yeah,
which is
that was just
cool.
bad.
But I mean,
That was bad. Come on.
it's chintzy,
You know,
man. That's gonna break like within one
I
time
think
if
with
you don't break it when you're
Nintendo,
making it.
yeah, with
Yeah.
Nintendo loves their IPs like Mario, Zelda, and they're gonna go stick with it till they die.
Right.
And fans love it. I do. I'm a big Mario fan. I'm a big Zelda fan, or
Right.
Link. And I love it. So
Yeah.
I know that they'll get money from me. But I do see them rehashing a lot of these games from the Wii U era or from the
Right.
Wii era, which I think to me, I'll still buy it and play it again because
Yeah.
the HD version, but it is getting kind of annoying that they don't have something brand new, which, hopefully they'll have more news this summer about Breath of the Wild 2,
Right.
you know? Um, yeah, I mean, there's really no other Mario game looming around except for the old ones. Um, I was expecting them to announce like a dual pack of the older games on the Switch, like Ocarina of Time or um, Wind Waker,
Right.
which again it will be rehashing games.
Yeah.
So I don't know
Of
what that
course.
would mean to anything. We played it like a million times in
Yeah.
different consoles,
Yeah. Exactly. And I
and that,
mean,
but you're still gonna buy it.
you know the the interesting thing, and this
Mhm.
this is a good testament to the overall lineage of Nintendo's titles and their IP. I mean, to this day, you know, some of us will still go back. We'll still go back and play, the original Legend of Zelda on the NES, or Legend of
Hmm.
Zelda 2, or A Link to the Past on the SNES, which is, in my opinion, the best Zelda game. I know that a
Hmm.
lot of people out there are going to be like, Ocarina of Time, and I can somewhat agree, but man, for me, there's always going to be a special place in my heart for A Link to the Past, and I think that
Oh
really
yeah.
set the standard that Ocarina of Time then, kind of ran with. Of
Hmm.
course, Ocarina of Time is a great game, but the fact that we're even talking about it says a lot about that franchise. It's a great franchise.
Yeah.
And Mario is an excellent franchise. They've had some very strange Mario games, but all in all, a very good franchise, a great character, all that stuff, right? But it's, I don't know, like how far can you take it is the thing. Like, I mean,
I
you
mean,
know,
it's different because
yeah,
with Mario, you're you're making new games with the same characters.
right,
That's what you're really doing.
right,
So if you make a new platformer, as long as you make it fun, you make it challenging. People gonna gravitate to it.
right.
How many times you gonna go save the princess?
Yeah.
you know,
Or try
and
to, but she's not in
yeah.
this castle.
But then you gotta think about too, just like Final Fantasy, they're the same thing. It's the same kind of.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
it is different stories and worlds, and
exactly.
everything. I get it. I get
Exactly.
it.
And the gameplay style really
Yeah.
has like to begin with, on the Super Nintendo and stuff, like they were very, very
Hmm.
similar. And then once they started kind of getting away from that, they haven't
Hmm.
really looked back. And I'm not saying
Yeah, I agree.
that in a lot of ways that's been kind of a detriment to their popularity, but at the same time, it's like they're trying to keep moving, keeping progressive
Hmm.
while, still trying to give you the same quality. I don't know, but everything at least feels generally different each time. It's a new experience, it's new characters. I mean, there's the tropey things where it's always like, well, the guy is gonna take over the world and destroy blah blah
Hmm.
blah and the kingdom and the princess. I mean, but that trope has been used, for as long as we've can talk about. I mean, Star Wars was that trope. Everything, goes all the way back to Excalibur and old
Hmm.
Viking sagas and stuff like that from a long time ago. So that those tropes have existed forever, but I think they at least try to keep it fresh and try to take it in new directions rather than just like, well, here's another Mario game. Hey, you can control
Hmm.
things with your hat. You can be a Goomba. It's like
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm, again, I'm a huge Mario fan. I'm a huge Nintendo fan. So I'll be the first one to say it. I have a lot of Switch games. I have a
Right.
lot of Mario, games like Super Mario Kart
Right.
and Super Smash Brothers and all that sort of stuff. I love it. It's fun. They're gonna get my money every time out. They're gonna get my money for Skyward Sword. They're gonna get my money for those cool freaking Joy Cons coming out with the Zelda print on them too as well.
Right.
Uh, I'm excited, but going back to the topic, do they need a new Switch? Again, it really doesn't matter to me because the games are fun.
Right.
Do we really? If we need a new Switch, it's not because of graphics. I can care less about 4K to be honest with you,
Right.
because
Yeah, for
uh,
Nintendo, it's not really essential.
yeah, it's not really like that. If they can increase frame rate,
Yeah,
cool. Because I think
absolutely.
right now frame rate is like the king right now over 4K. To be honest
Yeah.
with you, because playing games on the Xbox Series X on 120 frames per second is a lot better than 4K.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah, definitely.
obviously if you get 4K and 120
Yeah.
at the same time, even better.
Yeah, and
But
I mean now on those systems they've got a pretty close balance between the
yeah,
two. Like on Assassin's Creed Valhalla on the PS5, I didn't even really it looks so amazingly beautiful on the
mm-hmm.
PS5 that I didn't realize that there was quality settings on it, and
Really,
it was set to performance. So it was set to like the higher frame rate. So it had like
yeah,
some of the stuff disabled, and when I enabled it to be, quality,
mm-hmm.
man, the frame rates took a hit. It went down to like
Yeah,
30 frames a second and it looked incredible, but I was like, I can't play this. Like I can't
no,
I'm so used to playing this at 120 now or 60 or whatever it was that like
yeah.
I can't do it.
Oh no,
So,
it
yeah,
it
frame
definitely
rates matter
spoils
more
you.
than anything at this point.
No, it definitely spoils you.
That I mean it directly affects your gameplay.
Yeah.
Like it affects the way that you can react to things, the way that your character moves, like frame rate matters.
Hmm. I mean, yeah, you're right. When I was like now when I play games at 30 frames per second,
Yeah.
it's jarring. You can
Yeah.
tell. You
Yeah.
know, I'm 60 between 60 and 120. my eyes are not that good to see the difference. I mean, I can see
No.
it sometimes,
It's just a little bit more
if I'm really
fluidity.
looking.
That's about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I really look into it, but to me, 60 is where you
Yeah,
need to go
60 looks
outside.
great.
But as far as Nintendo Switch, if they can get a better processor to kind of power that to be a higher frame rate over the 4K, I'm all in. And also, if it makes the games in the future having bigger worlds and adding more stuff to the screen, then I'm all in.
Yeah.
Then yes, we do need a new Switch if
But
that's the case.
but here's the real question, and
Mhm,
I kind of put this into the notes just
mhm,
randomly, but
mhm.
I mean, is that really the direction that they should be going? I mean, should they not be like trying to develop their next generation system? I mean, it's about time. Now everyone else has come out and they
Mhm.
still got the Switch and they're coming out with the Switch Pro, but that's like a graphical upgrade and it's like
Yeah, but
why
then if
isn't
you do
Nintendo
that,
trying to compete at all? Like
yeah.
why don't they try at all? I don't get it.
I mean, I get it, but if they, you kind of want to stay with the Switch because one, they're just starting with games,
Right.
and they still have, all these games still need to go through. I mean, if you make a new system, it's gonna be back compatible to the Switch games, because even though it's 4 years, it feels like it was yesterday still.
Right.
You got to think about it because when the PS4 came out, it lasted what, like almost 10 years, right?
Yeah, just about
7 8 years. So I
7,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, you can go longer with the Switch, and the Switch Pro won't be that bad because it'll
Yeah.
be a new system. It'll just be upgraded. You still use your same games.
Right.
You still can go on the go and play your game on a train or on a bus or in your break or whatever, or on a
Right, right.
toilet like you do,
Yeah.
or
It's the way to do it, man.
or yeah, or you play on TV and get a better, get a better experience. But I think the main thing is, if you just have a Switch with better processor, you everything will run better, look better, and to me, yes, if that's what you want, then we do need a new Switch. But I think Nintendo really needs to kind of focus on these games because I think from the beginning everybody's been hoping for a new Metroid,
Yeah.
and hoping for these new games like Pikmin games. I
Yeah.
mean, but I feel like
I
this
mean, we got
generation of
Animal
Switch so
Crossing.
far, well, I don't play that game,
Yeah, no, I'm just
but,
like
but
that was the big one, and I understand like a
yeah,
ton of people played it, but I mean, like,
yeah,
so we get Mario Odyssey,
hmm
and
which was good,
we
which
get
is really good,
Breath of the Wild,
which was good,
which is
right?
good, and
hmm
then we get Animal Crossing. It's like,
Yeah,
and I
I
mean,
mean,
obviously there are other Switch games out there, but they're not Nintendo properties, so like
yeah, like
they're not.
Doom and Witcher, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
but definitely they need to kind of I don't know. It'd be awesome if we can get like another F-Zero game or
F
a
Zero, yeah.
proper Star Fox game.
Yeah, new Star Fox
You know,
game. Like, man, if
yes,
they came out with the Pro and they were like, yeah, with the Pro, you're going to be able to get the new Star Fox, the Star Fox Pro or something like that,
or the
or
Metroid.
or
We need
Metroid
Metroid
Pro or
Four.
something. Yeah, Metroid
Yeah,
is,
we need
yeah,
something. We need something better.
yeah,
So yeah, we definitely need new games. But because we're still seeing the same Mario,
right.
Zelda franchises. Because now you're coming out with this summer with Mario Golf, which is great. I'm
Yeah,
excited for it. But again,
it's just
yeah,
more, yeah, it's just more of the same thing.
it's
Just,
it's
yeah,
just more of the same thing. You know, but anyway,
yeah,
I guess we both think that yeah, I mean maybe they should go forward into the future into doing better things. But definitely, if they come out with a new Switch, I'll be on board.
yeah.
All
And
right.
speaking about going more into the
Mhm,
future and doing new
mhm.
things,
Yes.
uh, we saw recently that a new Mortal Kombat movie is going to be coming out.
Yes.
Um,
So even though everybody on Twitter and on internet was all blown up about it and they were all excited, I was probably one of the few
yeah.
that I think me and you were in the few were on a negative side,
Oh yeah.
and not because I don't like Mortal Kombat because I actually love the game.
Right.
I love the franchise. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
I played it since I was in high school or middle school on the Super Nintendo
Right.
and Genesis. So love the franchise. But where everybody's coming from, this movie looks good. It
Yeah.
it looks like B movie, quality
Yeah.
stuff.
I mean, I mean,
I mean,
yeah.
go
Obviously,
ahead.
the CG is going to look better than it did,
Yeah, of
20
course
years
it
ago
is.
in
It
the
looks
original. Your soul is mine.
yes,
All that
but
nonsense. But
but I mean, like,
at the same
do,
time, like it looks like the acting quality is maybe going to be even subpar to that terrible job on that movie. And
Yeah.
it's like, and they try to like interject like some like actual narrative and a story, and it's like, oh, we went to this thing and we went to get this guy who has superhuman powers, and it's Sub-Zero, and he just looks at the gun and then freezes it. And it's just like, I don't
Yeah.
know, man. Like, try to make something a little bit more trite. You know, if it's going to be Mortal Kombat, make it Mortal Kombat. Don't try to like make it some cinematic masterpiece. And actually, just don't do it. Maybe just stop.
Yeah. And
The original one
I
wasn't that
mean,
great. I mean, it was good for the time because it was like the first big video game movie that really came out back
yeah,
then.
but it wasn't that good. Come
But
on.
it wasn't good. I mean,
Yeah. I
Street
mean,
Fighter. Remember Street Fighter?
yeah, with John
With
Claude
Jean-Claude
Van
Van
Damme, it
Damme. Yeah.
wasn't good.
No,
And
terrible.
don't get me wrong, the young me loved it, but then when
Yeah,
you watch it
but for
again,
some
you're
like
like, wait a
weird
minute.
reason, like yeah, it was just
Yeah.
because it's a Street Fighter movie, and back then we were like, oh, we get a street, oh, it's Guile, oh, he did
Hmm.
he did kind of the Sonic Boom thing, and then you look at M Bison and you're like, he's really strong in the game, and he's
Yes,
the guy, he's
that's the guy
Gomez
from Addams
Adams,
Family.
yeah, why is Gomez Adams M Bison? I'm so confused. And why is
And
a French? Why is a where is he from? He's from Switzerland, maybe I think Austria. I can't remember
oh, I
where in the
can't
world
remember. It's been a
Jean
long
Claude Van
time.
Damme is from for whatever reason. I know the name
Yeah.
is French, and he may be French, and I'm probably just looking like an idiot at this point. But I feel like it's not France. He's like from Switzerland or something. Anyway,
I don't know.
whatever. That being said, like Guile was American, and he
Hmm.
doesn't talk with an American accent in the movie. He's just Jean Claude Van Damme the whole time. He's Bloodsport Jean Claude Van Damme.
Yeah,
And
which one of the greatest movies of all time?
yeah, it's
But
just I
that
don't
being
know.
said, I mean, what is there? If have there been any time there's been a really good video game movie?
Like based
You
on a
know?
video game, because obviously
Yes.
if you want to get into like video game movies as a whole,
Mhm.
you got War Games, which is a stone classic,
Yeah.
with Matthew Broderick when he goes up
Mhm.
against the war game,
Okay. Well,
like
let's
yeah, but
okay. So let's say, yes, a movie based off a video game.
yeah, video
So
game
like
franchise
Tomb
movies.
Raider, you have Street Fighter, you have Mortal Kombat, you have what other game movies? You have feature movies like Uncharted coming out,
Right.
or trying to come out. You hear rumors about Gears, of War coming out. You hear the Assassin's Creed movie that came out that was horrendous.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
so
actually
that
I'm
was
pulling up the list of
yes,
movies right now just to see, because man,
and
there's been a lot,
yes,
and we're
and I
forgetting
can tell you,
so
I
many.
watched every movie because I was excited because I always want to see how those movies kind of come to par with the
Right.
actual video game franchises, but they always fall short.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to remember. I mean, just by memory, probably the best movie that I enjoyed. Didn't think it was like awesome and great acting, but probably Tomb Raider with um
You know, yeah, yeah. Well, Tomb Raider was a
mhm,
classic, and Tomb Raider, I will say, on its own, was good
mhm.
enough because that actually blew up. Like that was a big one.
The soundtrack was good.
Yeah, the soundtrack was good. So yeah, I'm looking at the here. I'll send you the stuff right now. Just give me 2 seconds. Give you the list that you can look at. Um, so yeah, and you remember what the first video game movie was though? And this one I actually have a place in my heart for, and I actually do enjoy the movie. For some reason, I love the aesthetic and the vibe of the movie.
Oh, I see it.
Super Mario Brothers
Oh
was
my god.
actually it was
Mhm,
actually a pretty enjoyable movie. I mean, they had decent actors in it. I mean, John Legg was a decent actor, whatever. But they had
mhm,
what was his name, Bob Hoskins. They
mhm,
had John Leguizamo in it, Dennis
mhm.
Hopper. I mean, they
Yeah.
had a cast, right? And it was so far removed from what Super Mario Brothers was. And they did
Mhm.
this on all of these video game movies in the 90s. It was
Oh yeah.
always like everyone had to dress. It was like they all had to wear like weird black uniform. Like they never wanted them to look like what they looked like in the game for whatever reason. And like like in the Street Fighter movie, like none of them look right, and they just look like
Mhm.
bad Halloween costumes of like kids with like that they didn't have the
No,
income to
I
like
mean,
really buy the licensed one, so they
but that's
bought
the
like
'90s for you. Yeah.
like the Sonic Commander camo costume set where it's supposed to be a knockoff of Guile, And they
Okay, so there's you know what?
but there are some good ones as I'm looking
Yeah,
through
I'm
this
just looking
list.
right
Yeah.
now. There's actually really good ones. I
Yeah.
take that back.
Dude,
Tomb Raider is not my
Silent
favorite movie.
Hill. Silent Hill was
Yes,
a great video game
there you
movie.
go. That's a great movie.
Um,
Actually, the Resident Evil movies
you know,
until the end,
on
it
their
actually started really well.
own as movies as entertainment things, like
Yeah, okay.
those took off too. I don't think that I really liked Mila in that role at all,
Hmm.
but
No.
all in all, like the vibe, the soundtrack was really good. Man, you had like Slipknot on there, some Marilyn Manson. I think actually did
Well,
the soundtrack.
the soundtrack for every Resident Evil movie is actually really good.
Yeah, and I think
Um,
Marilyn Manson did the scoring for that movie, so that was
Now
really cool.
that's
Doom,
different though because these movies, I mean, Resident Evil, like I just took parts of the game. You know, what I
right?
mean, it wasn't like direct, part of it, but it was actually I like Resident Evil movies. They're actually pretty fun. There's actually a lot of movies I had never seen, like I never seen Alone in the Dark,
Yeah,
Blood Rain. That's a great game. I'm gonna actually check that out. Um,
probably terrible. It's
yeah,
probably terrible.
Hitman was terrible. I don't care what anybody says about that one. Actually, Prince of Persia wasn't that bad. I remember seeing that one. It was not good. It just wasn't that bad.
Right?
Okay. Wing Commander. They actually had a Mark Hamill.
Was
I'm
he in
pretty
the
sure he
Wing
was.
Commander movie? I
Yeah,
know
pretty
that
sure he
Mark
was.
Hamill was in the Wing Commander games
Oh, wait a minute. No, 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 no.
because they were full
He was
motion video
not.
games.
It was actually like all the teen heartthrobs of the 90s. Um,
Yeah, I could see
the guy
that.
from Scream, the other guy from Scream, and one more guy from Scream.
In that other teen
They all
movie.
the same movies all together. Um, yeah,
Oh yeah,
it
Freddie
wasn't.
Prinze Jr. and Matthew
Yeah,
Lillard.
yeah, Matthew Lillard,
Yeah,
and yeah. Okay, I take that back. It was Mark Hamill was actually it was an actual game,
yeah. The
not
games
a
had
movie.
full motion, and they had Mark Hamill in them. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Um,
My bad.
I would say honestly, though, straight up, the best, probably the absolute best,
Hmm.
well made, true to form video game movie, in my opinion, is going to be Silent Hill because they captured the vibe. I never liked the fact that they had like that parallel storyline going on where it's
Hmm.
like they're in Silent Hill, but then he's in the real world in Silent Hill, and they're like in the actual
Hmm.
hellscape of Silent Hill, and he's in the town of Silent Hill, and it's like I didn't really like that. I liked it for dramatic effect when they finally make it home and then they realize that they are trapped in whatever,
Hmm.
reality they're in there. Um, which I mean, I guess that kind of goes right along with some of the mind bending kind of, tomfoolery that goes on in the Silent Hill games. But
Oh yeah,
the aesthetic
and
of it, the
yeah,
soundtrack was like
hmm
they scored it well. They actually used like the same composer and the video game music from it. They actually pulled out, Pyramid Head was great, tore someone's skin off their body.
oh,
I
I
mean,
remember that part. That was pretty cool.
that was that's probably the best
Mhm.
video game movie by far.
Well,
Um,
what about here's the one here, Warcraft.
it's Warcraft is hard for me. So on one hand, it's okay, right? Because I'm a
Hmm.
huge, well, at least I'm a huge World of Warcraft fan. And I
Hmm.
played it a lot, as you know, from back in the day, because I used to get you to try to play, or try to get you to play it, and you played it with me for a little while, but
Yeah.
you pieced out after a little bit.
Hmm.
Honestly, I thought they did it pretty well, but there was too much. It was too reliant on green screen, so there wasn't as much like
Hmm.
locational stuff that they should have done for like good, like realistic stuff. So it looked like a big CG green screen movie, and that always ruins the experience for me. A couple of the actors in it, like the female orc, I can't even remember her name, like the half
Hmm.
orc female girl. She just could barely talk through her teeth, and she just sounded bad. And the guy from Vikings, Travis Hamill or whatever his name is, like I guess he kind of played the character. It just I don't know, but it did hit me in the nerd loins because there were so many times where I was like,
Hmm.
oh my god, it's Stormwind. Oh my god, it's Orgrimmar. Oh my god, it's X, Y, or Z. Oh my
Hmm.
god, it's a Fell Demon. And like those moments are cool. But like all in all, I think they didn't really tap into like the potential that it should have had. And I think that movie had been in planning for a long time. That was like the cyberpunk, man. Like they'd been
Yeah.
talking about that and in and out of production for years. I mean, for probably 10 years, I would say.
I
Maybe
mean, here
8 or
you
10
have
years.
Let me see. Need for Speed was terrible. I remember that movie.
I haven't seen it.
Uh, Detective Pikachu, my opinion, was terrible, but it actually made a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, of course,
Um,
Ryan Reynolds is
Sonic,
in it.
yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog. That was funny. I actually enjoyed the movie because of Jim Carrey. He was actually pretty funny in that movie.
Right.
But it's CGI heavy,
Yeah.
and it just felt a little awkward sometimes watching the movie there too. But I do see they're doing a part two, so it must, God it did well
It
enough.
made money, so that's all that matters
Yeah,
to them,
so they
right?
gotta do it again. But I see this stuff here. So obviously the future movie it's not all guaranteed, but I see Mega Man is gonna be
Right.
on Netflix, which is kind of and then you got a Metal Gear Solid film
That
on the
might be cool if
picture.
they do it well, but who knows?
A Saints Row film, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be good, but it would be cool. Yakuza, that could be good.
Yeah.
But you know what? That being said, the animated movies are better because you have Final Fantasy: The Spirit Within,
Yeah.
Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
That came out too as well. Okay, Angry Bird movies was bad. Um,
I'm kind of surprised they don't include Advent Children, Final Fantasy Advent Children, because that was pretty
I
awesome.
don't
Oh,
know.
maybe that's Japanese animated, is it? Is it under
Yeah,
that?
but yeah, I remember Ratchet and Clank. That was actually a pretty. I actually like that movie. That was a good movie. Well, it wasn't a good movie, but it was enjoyable. But yes. So yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of movies. There's actually a lot more movies than I thought it would. Like Doom, that had The Rock in it. That was terrible.
Yeah.
House of the Dead, was that the movie with White Zombie, Rob Zombie as a director?
No, you're thinking of like House of a
No.
Thousand Corpses, which was not
Oh, okay,
not
no,
even
okay,
close to the
okay.
same thing.
About to say because that movie was awesome.
Yeah.
So I was like thinking of that too. So yeah, and Double Dragon, totally forgot about that movie.
Yeah.
That movie sucked. I remember
Yeah.
seeing that movie.
That was
But
bad.
going back to Super Mario Bros.
So they're
Wow.
so they're
Now I
making
actually watched that movie in the theaters. That's
Yeah, me
how
too.
excited I was
Yeah.
watching that movie, and I came out very disappointed. Now I was older than you, so I could see these things a little better than you. Your child mind. I
My
was a
rose
teenager
tinted
mind.
glasses of being
Yeah, and I was like,
a
"What the hell I
child,
just watched?"
right?
you know, because if cringe was like a popular word back in the day, that's how Super Mario Brothers
Hey
was. It was
man,
a lot of
the
cringe.
Goombas in that movie looked legit.
Oh my god! And the way they say everything, or like what are they called, the bombs?
Yeah, the bombs. Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, any of you that have never seen the Super Mario Brothers movie and you've played plenty of Mario Brothers games, which if you listen to this, I would assume you have, look up Super Mario Brothers movie Goombas. It's I don't. This is like one of those things, like an artistic direction. Like, why? Where did this come from? So basically, there are these gigantic, like hulking, like monstrosity
Mhm.
things, and they have this tiny little Goomba head, and they have like teeth. I don't know. There's it's so bizarre, but there's something weirdly like it's one of those movies that it's almost so bad it's good sort of thing.
Mhm.
Like it's so weirdly made, and like I don't know,
Oh
like
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, one of my favorite franchise on toys is He-Man. Masters of the Universe,
yeah.
and they actually came out with a Masters of the Universe, with Dolph Lundgren
Oh yeah.
back in the
Oh,
'80s,
that movie used to scare
and
me as a
I
kid.
love that movie.
Yeah.
But that movie's terrible.
Yeah.
So it's so bad that it's good. Like everything that I'd known He-Man for as a kid
Right.
never happened in that movie. Like there was no Orko, I don't know what the heck they were looking at Man at Arms, and
Right.
Tila. It was more space adventure than what He-Man is like really, all about. Skeletor was just kind of, I mean, he was okay. He's probably the best part of the movie. He never in the movie he said, "By the power of Grayskull, I have the power." He didn't say any of that.
Right.
He
Yeah,
just said,
yeah.
"I have the
Well,
power."
yeah, and but this is like the typical Hollywood thing, and I think that's kind
Mhm,
of what I was kind of indirectly alluding to is that they
mhm.
always have to do like this sort of like reimagining of the characters. So like the character
Mhm,
will be wearing like some like black leather, and like
mhm.
it's like what they did with the X-Men movies. Like instead of trying to come up with something reminiscent of the X-Men uniforms, which I
Yeah.
understand watching a bunch of grown adults running around in spandex, But look at what they've done with the Avengers, right? Like it looks like the characters, right? They've
Yeah.
modernized it and kind of done like some leather and makes it look like a suit that you would wear in reality, but it looks like the characters, right?
Yeah.
But the X-Men movie, it was like they were all in these like completely generic black leather suits. They
Hmm.
all looked the same. None of them had any sort of, iconography to them. And they always try to make these like edgy. Like as soon as they put it into a film, it's like, well, it has to have like some sort of edginess to it. Yeah, Mario Brothers has to have some edge to it. So you have to have
Hmm.
like, a big girl named Bertha who was like crushing on one of them at the bar. Like they went to that, they
Hmm.
went to that like that club or whatever, and she's like in love with Mario, and she gives him the jump boots.
Hmm.
I mean, do you remember that? Like, it's so funny
Oh,
that
I can't. I
oh
cannot remember
man,
that movie right now. I'm probably end up watching it soon
yeah.
again, just to kind of get my
Now
cringe
I have
factor
to
back
watch it
on.
again because it's just
Yeah.
like
Uh,
firing off these,
but
these little
definitely,
memory sparks.
um, but definitely, I don't know why they changed the movie a lot from the games. Like if
Yeah,
they're gonna do a game, I mean a movie based off a game, just stick to what worked,
yeah,
and just stick to it. I mean, they're talking about Gears of War, and to me, I hope they don't make it
right,
because the character they're trying to use to tell a story of these characters to me is like
right.
it's gonna be different.
Yeah.
I see Marcus Phoenix as the Marcus Phoenix I see in the game. I can't see him as Dave Batista as they're trying to do. It just doesn't really work for me.
I don't
You
know. I
know,
mean, for me, that makes sense. Like he looks like Batista. I feel like it really
hmm
depends on how they do it. Like ultimately,
I
because
guess
Batista's a really good actor. Like he's good in movies. Like his characters are,
maybe.
are are pretty decent. He was good in Blade Runner. I mean, I saw some movie with him
Hmm.
the other day. And, I mean, it was pretty decent.
Not Guardians, right?
No, I've never even seen
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Like
Oh well,
I don't
that's the movie
watch
I've seen the
Marvel
most.
movies, man.
What?
I just don't watch them. No, I
Oh my
can't. I
god!
can't deal with like superhero movies anymore. I just can't. I can't. It's the same
Hmm.
issue that I've run into with Star Wars movies.
Hmm.
It's become so overly saturated, and Disney. It's because of Disney, and Disney owns both of them, and they just churn them out. It's just
But
production
you but
like.
you do like the old Star Wars movies, though.
Oh, of course, I love the old
Yes.
Star Wars movies, and I mean,
No, no, I
I
agree with
even
you. The
like
new ones.
I even like the second trilogy in a way, like because they were still like,
Yes, we low key like
yeah, I
the
mean
original,
there's
not
something,
originally, but the second
they're
trilogy.
bad movies ultimately, but like all
Mhm.
in all, like in the lore, like I
It
mean
tells the
they're
story
passable.
well.
Yeah,
It tells the
but
story well.
and I think they've done a lot with like, but again, now they're relying mostly on pretty stuff. They're trying to make it edgy. They got to
Mhm.
make it for a new generation. And then you have like the second movie where Luke Skywalker is drinking the milk from an udder on a
Yeah,
sea
I know.
lion
Don't get
beast.
me started.
I mean, so
I
it's Disney
Mhm.
again. It's just
Yes.
yeah, it's just Disney. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Because I
I
love
mean,
the old like superhero movies, the old like
Mhm.
Superman movies, and I used to have like those old like bad DC Comics
Mhm.
movies like The Flash and stuff like that. Like I think they were like made for TV movies, and they came out like
Mhm.
on
I remember
VHS
those.
or something.
Captain
Yeah,
America.
yeah, Captain America. It was like all the
Mhm.
same production company.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, like, and I loved Iron Man when it came out. Like, I really loved Iron Man, and I enjoyed the Avengers quite a bit. And I was watching like the Hulk and stuff. But then eventually, it was
Mhm.
just like, and Captain America was good, but it's just there's so many of them. It's just
Yeah.
it's so oversaturated. Like,
I
I
mean,
can't
they
care
had to
any
do
less
that
at this
because
point.
they had to tell a story, and
Right?
obviously it can't be a 10-hour movie. It had to
Yeah.
be many 3-hour movies, and I get it. I enjoy it. Is it my favorite movies and franchise? No. But I did enjoy it. I'm enjoying WandaVision now on Disney Plus, which I think is pretty cool.
Right.
I don't know. I guess because I'm a big comic book nerd, now more DC than Marvel, even though I think DC does a terrible job making movies, except for, the Batman movies.
Right.
But uh, but otherwise, yeah,
And I can't
you
do the
know.
Batman movies either. By the way, not just even a Disney thing. I can't. I can't.
What about 1989 Batman with Michael
No,
Keaton?
oh, I love the Tim Burton
Hmm.
ones. I love the Joel
Hmm.
Schumacher one, even though it's kind of bad.
No,
And who was he? I don't even remember the director of the fourth
I will
one.
stop at Tim Burton. Joel
Who?
Schumacher, no, no. He's
No,
the
but
one with he's the one that made the Batman with nipples, right?
I think so,
That's you.
maybe.
Yeah.
Whichever one had Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones in it, that one was actually pretty decent. And I think that was a Val Kilmer one. That had a great soundtrack.
Was it Val Kilmer or was it
I think that
George
was
Clooney at the
Batman
time?
Forever. Batman and Robin should never even be mentioned in the same breath. But those first three, that definitely the Tim Burton
Hmm.
movies, like those were
Those are
classics,
awesome.
stone
The
classics.
one, no, no, the ones with Tim
Because that
Burton are
was
awesome. I
those
think it was
were
just two though.
there were only two. There was Batman and
Yes,
Batman Returns.
and that was
And
with
then
Tim Burton.
Batman Forever was Joel Schumacher, who
Okay.
was I was thinking of Paul Verhoeven there for a second, but
Mhm.
he did it decently. Like, but I mean, I understand why people didn't really like it. It took away that grit and that real like
Mhm.
washed out Tim Burton like kind of weird sort of stuff. Tim Burton is twisted enough to like make that work. But
Mhm.
yeah, like the third one was decent. Fourth one was terrible with Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy. Like that was bad. Mr. Freeze.
But that's the one with Batman and Robin though.
Yeah, that
That
was
right?
Batman and Robin. Yeah, that was
Yeah, that
bad.
was
That
bad.
was bad.
That was bad.
That was just
Yes.
absolutely bad. But the yeah, but I can't like I really like Batman Begins, right?
Hmm.
I thought that was a really cool take because it wasn't so like
And that's with
Batman.
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, but it wasn't
Yes.
like a Batman movie to me because there was
Hmm.
so much like the backstory and all of that stuff, and then going up against Scarecrow, and then like the insane visual stuff of like when you get the what is it called that he hits people with like the scare powder, the nightmare powder or
Yeah.
something like that. I can't remember the term. Comic book nerds will like
Mhm.
murder me in my sleep over that, but
Mhm.
like when he dosed him with that, and then he sees like his face is melting and stuff, and it's I mean they
Mhm.
did that really well. I thought that movie was great. Um, what is it? The Dark Knight Rises, was that
Yeah. Well, The Dark Knight is the one with
the
Heath
Dark
Ledger.
Knight? Yeah. So
Yes.
I saw that one, and overall I enjoyed it, and Heath Ledger was great in it, right?
Hmm.
But I hated Christian Bale in it. I could not deal with him in that movie because it was so overdone. Like
Yeah.
I didn't like the dynamic. I just didn't think
I
he
agree with you
played a
with
good
that one.
Batman,
Yeah.
and it
Because
was
that's not my favorite one either.
it
I
was
I
too
I only
long.
enjoy Batman Begins,
Yeah,
but I didn't enjoy. I did enjoy the one with the Joker,
yeah.
but the last one
I didn't see it.
with
I
Bane,
tapped out.
I tapped out after that movie
Right.
unfortunately, and I wasn't a fan. I agree with that one. And then when Ben Affleck played Batman
Batman versus
in the
Superman.
Justice League, yeah,
Yeah.
Ben Affleck would have been a really good Batman, but the movie wasn't written well, in my opinion.
No. And
That's the
again,
problem. And
the problem is it's all such a cash grab now that it's
mhm,
just it's they just want to churn them out, and DC is rushing to compete with Marvel. So it's like Marvel
mhm,
is just churning out movie after movie after movie. Like years ago when they released like you actually saw like the calendar of releases that were upcoming
mhm,
of Marvel, and it was like but now they are legitimate like I can't remember where I saw this, but between like Netflix and Disney Plus
mhm,
and all the streaming platforms and TV stations and movies and stuff like that, they're looking at a release schedule where they're coming out with like a new Marvel thing, like legit. Like I think every month or like every 2 weeks like
mhm.
it's so crazy like how saturated it is. And yeah, I just I know like we've gone off on this
Oh
huge
no,
tangent, but
and
like
yeah, and Disney Plus, like they're gonna have the Winter Soldier and
yeah,
and Falcon,
yeah,
and then you got WandaVision, and then you
yeah.
got the new Black Widow movie
Yeah.
coming out, which is going to now they're doing prequels,
Yeah.
these movies and everything of
Yeah, they
origin
just can't
stories, which
stop. There's just too much money in it for them.
well, yeah, well, they're not gonna stop,
Yeah.
and some of those movies are gonna be pretty cool. Like, I did enjoy like Black Panther and those movies.
I still
But
haven't seen that. I
anyway,
want to see that one, but
you know, but anyway, we're getting
I
off
love
topic
Deadpool
here.
though.
We want
I
to,
will say that. I
yeah,
love Deadpool. Deadpool was great. Marvel knocked it out of
Deadpool.
the park on that one.
Trying to remember Deadpool 2.
Deadpool
Deadpool
2 was
1 was
good.
awesome. Deadpool 2 was good. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one he got the team together, right?
Yeah, he got the team
Okay,
together
that one is funny. Yeah, that one
and
was
he
good.
fought
I
Juggernaut.
agree with
Yeah.
yes. So Deadpool, I'll give a pass for Marvel movie being
Oh
one of the
yeah.
better movies.
That's in my
No, no,
opinion the best one. Best two.
I have to say the first Guardians of the Galaxy is really good.
I still haven't seen
That
it.
was my favorite.
I'll
I
have to
love
watch
that
it at
one.
some point.
I love that one. I mean, if you like, if you're in love with Dave Batista, you should watch Guardians of the
Oh, I
Galaxy.
love Dave
All right,
Batista.
and then you will love those two as well.
Right.
All right, so let's go to our topic from a viewer, or
Yeah.
actually a listener last time. So this person wants to ask us is what's our favorite gaming memory?
Hmm.
So they weren't very specific, so you can use anything. It can be the first time you did gaming. It can be a gaming moment that you were with friends
Yeah.
or Christmas or whatever. We're gonna cheat. Let's just give like a top three because I can't really put that in one. Okay, because I have a lot of ties. You know.
Yeah.
So we'll bounce back and forth. I'll give one. You give one. If you only have one, you have one. I think I'm gonna have two.
Okay.
But my
I
first
definitely
one
have
would
one.
be my first one will be because this is ingrained in my head is the first time I got a Super Nintendo for Christmas. It was you remember that kid who was screaming Super Nintendo and
Nintendo 64.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That was me.
Yeah.
That I mean every
I
time I
think I
see
did
that
that more than
video,
once. Yeah.
yes, it's that video, I relate. Like that was me as a kid when I got the Super Nintendo for the first time.
Right.
And I was like, because I remember in middle school, everybody was bragging about Super Mario, World, I think was coming out. I can't remember Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario World
Super
was
Mario
coming
World.
out.
Yeah. That was what was coming out. Yep.
That was in all Nintendo Powers and everything in the magazine that we brought to school and show everybody, oh, look what I got.
Right.
Um, Everybody was waiting for it, and I remember I got it for Christmas, and I was so excited. I remember playing that game literally the whole freaking day, the next day, and back in the day, it felt like your Christmas vacation was like 2 months long.
Right.
you know, as a kid and everything. So I felt I played that game every day, and I remember I beat it, and it's one of those games where even though I finished it, I played over again
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I wanted to, best my time and do it quicker and faster and find all these secrets and do it this way and do it that way and those those were really fun times and just getting my Super Nintendo for the first time,
Right.
and that game attached to it because it came with it was super exciting. It popped even though I played Nintendo a lot and Atari in Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis were the games that brought me really into gaming, but the Super Nintendo time because it was Christmas, was like me or just thinking with me and my bro just like playing it all night and all day, and then inviting my friends to come over
Right.
and playing Super Mario Brothers together. That was just awesome. So that's got to be like top one for me.
Yeah. Fair. So yeah, the Mike is saying this is all right down his alley. Um, um, yeah, my when you use the phrase like where the way the question asked,
Mhm.
what is your favorite gaming memory or what is it? Yeah, what is your
Yeah.
favorite gaming memory?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I have more of sort of a I don't know how I would term this, but more of a situational thing or more of like an actual memory.
Mm-hmm.
And this is from back in the 80s. And this is from
Oh
when
wow.
arcades were like a big thing
Oh.
and you could go to obviously the arcade. Um and we had a there was Party Time. I don't know if you were
Mm-hmm.
out here when those existed, but
No.
they were kind of like Chuck E. Cheese,
Mm-hmm.
but they were called Party Time, and I think they may have been primarily like a DC area thing. But they had like it was lit really cool, like it was dark. Like
Mm-hmm.
see the thing about arcades from back in the day, like in the 80s, is they really tried to like sell this really cool aesthetic. So you'd walk in, the place would be really dark, kind of like Dave and Buster's, but
Mm-hmm.
they made it like cooler lighting and stuff like that, and you'd be going through. It's like I don't know, it's like being in a I can't explain it. It's just it felt like you were in like this really cool place in an arcade, and there's just these bright
Mm-hmm.
lights everywhere and arcade machines everywhere you look. Um, and I remember playing like some old Atari games in there and stuff, but the gaming memory that really sticks out, I think it may have been at Chuck E. Cheese when I was a kid. There was um, this old Star Wars game, and you actually sat in a seat and had like a
Mm-hmm.
joystick and you would fly and it was wireframe, like the graphics were wireframe, so you'd be like flying your your snow speeder or your X-wing or anything like that.
Hmm.
They were like going through different parts of the movie trilogy. So you would be in an X-wing and you'd be like bombing the Death Star, and they
Hmm.
they did stuff like they redid like they always come out with like rehashes of that sort of stuff. There's some Star Wars game out now that they basically do all the same crap. Like you take down the walkers and you blow up the
Hmm.
Death Star. So but whatever. This is like in the 80s. So like I said, it was wireframe. It was black and orange, I think, and it was so mind-blowing at the time because it was like 3D. Like you were actually going
Hmm.
through like 3D wireframe models in the 80s, and it was just so mind-blowing.
Oh yeah.
And I remember like going through this arcade, and like, man, Star Wars fever back in the day was something because I was young, obviously, and I would wear like I'd be in a polo, some like Oshkosh polo or something like that, or a friggin' like Lacoste polo or something. And I had like a white one, right? A white polo shirt. And I remember pulling it down like as hard as I could. And then I had like a belt and I wrapped the belt around the shirt so that I felt like I was wearing like Luke Skywalker's tunic. So I was this little kid like trying to look like Luke Skywalker in like an arcade and playing like these old Star Wars games. And yeah, I mean, that's like when I think of memories, I
Hmm.
distinctly think of like going through the arcades and that moment of finding that Star Wars game and just being like, oh my God, and playing like Tron and stuff. Like when it was new, like new, it was
Hmm.
new at the time.
Oh no,
It's crazy.
and that will go to my top two. Like tied. The Christmas memory, which me and my brother game all night and everything.
Right.
But another one, just down the alley, you said arcade.
Yeah.
To me, that is one of the best gaming memories. This is why I have a mini arcade in my house
Yeah.
because of one of nostalgia, and two is it brings me back to those memories of, we all say, oh, back in the day, simpler times. Everybody's young years is simpler times.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
of
so
course.
when people tell
We
me that,
didn't
like,
make
well, the 80s
money.
were simple,
We just
yeah,
our
like,
parents gave
well,
us
yeah,
money.
yeah, when the 80s there were simpler times. They were hard times for adults. We're simpler times for us. Okay,
Right.
so so I remember back in the day, and the same thing with you. It wasn't Star Wars, but it was the game that always pops in my head when I'm walking in my memory lane is Double Dragon, and I love Double Dragon to this day. It could be a glitchy mess.
Right.
I
Yeah.
I usually buy every Double Dragon, any kind of platform. If there's like a collection of it, whatever, I
Right.
play it. And when I play it, I still have the same memory of playing it, getting frustrated because I fall off on the conveyor belt all the time, trying to get to the boss and everything. And playing Double Dragon is like, and it's not because of the game, but just playing with with my brother or my cousin. We go there, we all these quarters, we're popping quarters to try to beat the game and everything. I swear we probably like, wasted our whole allowance on, on arcades,
Right.
and
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
oh yeah, and and just playing those games. Punch Out, another game that I remember playing in the arcades, or there's a game called oh my god, there's a ton of WrestleFest. I was a huge WWF fan,
Yeah. Yeah.
and WrestleFest was like the best
I think I remember that one.
arcade
Yeah.
wrestling game of all time, in my opinion. And the big sprites and everything, and how big the character, they're like superheroes, and it
Yeah.
was,
Yeah. I think I
yeah.
know the one you were talking about. Yeah.
Yes, I think for us, it had to be back in the day, but that definitely, the tide. It's the Super Mario Brothers, Super Nintendo, Christmas, and then just going to the arcade. And I do remember that every arcade was dark, had a lot of lights and everything. It just made you feel like you were like in some kind of club,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Exactly. Yeah.
then
Yeah.
yeah,
It
and
was like a
all the
whole vibe.
noises going on. Even though it was so noisy, but whatever game you're playing in front of you, it was like directly at
Loud.
you. You can
Yeah.
hear, yeah,
It was
you can
loud.
hear nothing around you.
Yeah. I remember
But yeah,
playing Pitfall on arcade back then. That's how long ago it was.
that's a
Um,
long, yeah,
so
pitfall.
Mike actually posted in the Twitch stream. He says
Mhm.
my favorite memory was back in high school playing N64 with my buddy Bear. We both played WCW Revenge as Billy Kidman. He says we hit a total 90 shooting star press on Dean Malenko. That was fun. I have no idea what he's talking about, but that's what he said.
So the game he's talking about is an awesome, awesome wrestling game. Not as good as what's the other game? Tell Mike to tell me the other game on Nintendo 64.
If he's still in
Um,
here, yeah,
No Mercy, I think it was. Oh my god, I can't remember. It was No Mercy. Some of the games, but yes, other memories that were awesome back in the day were like all of us friends just playing, games all night.
yeah,
Like, you know, obviously now I couldn't do that. I couldn't even last to probably 12:30.
yeah,
But back in the day, for some reason, we were hopped up on like caffeine that we were
yeah.
playing all night to like 6 a.m. I
Just
mean, another
downing
great
RC
memory.
cola.
Oh yeah, another great memory is me and my then my best friend back in the day, Andrew. When I first got an Xbox, I think I talked about the story, and I got Halo for the first time. Never played that game, and actually played that game from the time I came in and we plugged into the TV at 6 p.m. and we did not finish the game till 6 a.m. That's a good memory because that's
Yeah,
just a memory of like brothers, playing and having fun and we're looking for. I mean, there's tons of memories, but those are the ones that stick out
yeah,
the most and everything. But those are fun days,
yeah. And
and
of
I'll
course,
say,
and I'll probably leave, this will be like the last thing that we go on about. The other gaming memory that I had is going to be something that I, of course, yeah. He said No Mercy, by the way.
oh, No
Um,
Mercy is what it
yeah, yeah.
was.
So of course, I always end up talking about the Final Fantasy games and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But when I initially played Final Fantasy 3 at the time, which was actually
Mm-hmm.
Final Fantasy 6, but 3 on the Super Nintendo in America, um, that was a standout gaming experience for me. It's why I'm such a fan of the series at this point, because I realized at that time that games could be so much more than what I'd been playing, so much more than
Mm-hmm.
just something casual where it was like a cinematic story driven experience. There was actual feelings involved, and the music was great and orchestral, and it was just grander than life. And I mean, that was back on a Super Nintendo. So
Mm-hmm.
everything that we had dealt with up, leading up to that was, pretty rudimentary or kind of fun or whatever. Legend of Zelda was like the most epic thing that we did back then, was like Legend of Zelda. But like
Oh
when
yeah.
Final Fantasy came out, especially that one, it was just
Mm-hmm.
it was groundbreaking and it was mind blowing, and it changed the scene. I mean, that's where, like that it just that took RPGs in general in a new direction and really upped the ante. You know what I mean?
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Final Fantasy had a lot of great memories for that one. That was
yeah,
for me, seven will be the best memory, especially when a certain person died. I mean, I don't know why it's a spoiler, because I think probably everybody played it, but I think those moments kind of bring, I mean, it's because where I was at in high school playing a game and just playing a game that big,
all right,
you know,
yeah,
and that long.
yeah,
I think it took me a long time to play because obviously I was gaming. I was in high school. I need to keep my grades up. I couldn't game for 8 hours a day, so
yeah.
it took me quite a while to beat that. Final Fantasy VII, but I loved it. Great memories for that game too. As well. One more memory because I'm now going through this like lane of nostalgia. I'm like, oh my god, it's killing me. But I remember, um, this is like I don't know why I'm bringing the Sega CD up, but I remember getting the Sega CD for the first time and playing Sewer Shark. And even though
I
that
forgot
game,
about that game.
yeah, even though that game sucks so bad, but the memory of you playing it for literally for like 7 hours straight because I could not remember which way to go
Right,
to beat that game, and I was so determined to beat it. To kind of remember the way to go. Because all quick time basically. Events and everything like that, and
right, right,
and I remember I was so in my head. I knew that game sucked, but I tried to like make myself think it was a good purchase. You know what I mean? And I
right.
remember, and that always sticks in my head that man, just I wasted 7 hours of my life playing that game.
Yeah,
And that game sucked. All right, so we are going to end this podcast
yep.
slash video that we're trying to do. We're going to try to next our next stream is going to be through YouTube, through our official channel. Right now, we're kind of testing the waters, see how everything goes, see how the video goes on Patrick's Twitch
On Twitch, yeah,
channel, which you should follow.
yeah.
He does play a lot of cool games on there too as well. So he
I
just
will be,
started.
yeah.
So please, yep.
Still learning the whole
Um,
streaming thing. So this has
yeah.
been a
So
good little
all this is
experience.
we're all learning, guys. So we're learning how to do this to maybe do get better backgrounds and stuff like that. We're trying to kind of test the waters out on the streaming thing because I think it'll be better for everybody to see us what we're doing, and also be better for me to show people stuff and back and forth, and then hopefully next week we'll get a mic into the videos as well.
Yeah.
So So again, baby steps. We're getting there, but please keep listening, keep following, keep giving us good questions to talk about in our next podcast. And if you want to ask any questions, obviously you can contact me at the on Instagram on that old school gamer dude. Just DM me, or when I post the videos or when I post a post, just on the bottom have
Hit
your
that follow
questions.
button.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just put it in there, and then you can follow Patrick at Zeta Muerte.
Zeta Muerte, yeah,
Yep,
on Instagram and on Twitch. I'm at twitch.tv/ the real gray man, with an E, gray man with an
yep.
E.
And I will
And
post these links, by the way, on my Instagram. So if you guys want to check that out,
yeah, absolutely. And then you can find Jose on pretty much every platform under Damage JJP for any gaming
yes,
stuff, PlayStation, computer, Xbox,
Switch,
Switch,
Xbox.
all
I
of the
made it
above.
easy for everybody.
Yeah.
And one thing I gotta mention is that I made a lot of cool friends over the Switch, Xbox, and PS5s over in well, PS5, PS4s, and PS3s over time with
Right.
Instagram and everything. A lot of cool dudes out there and everything playing and everything. So again, guys, if you guys want to add me, definitely I love the game with all y'all.
Yep. Yep. Same here.
And then
All right.
Mike is and then you want to Mike, he was here last week. He had a couple things to take care of tonight, but he will definitely be here next week.
Yeah.
And you can contact him on N7 Viking Warrior, right?
Yep. N7 Viking Warrior. Yeah.
Yes,
That is
on
correct.
Xbox
On
and
everything.
PlayStations. Yes, on everything as well, and also on Instagram. So if you want to, shoot him a DM on what kind of topics you want to hear us talk about next week, shoot it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Where otherwise, again, guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And like I always say, well, starting to say it, please wear your mask over your nose and your mouth. Please, don't be showing your face dick. All
Yeah.
right. We don't need that. All right, guys. Have a good night.
All right. See you later.
Peace.
Bye.